Passport Planet is back, and today I can't wait to share with you our journey all the way up to the beautiful Montreal and Quebec. Today we're going to explore the historic Mount Stephen Hotel that dates back to 1880 that was built for this man, George Stephen, a first baron that created the Canadian Pacific Railroad and president of the Bank of Montreal. And before I go further and dive into this historic hotel that blends times of many decades ago to modern, I want to take this time to recognize somebody who has always been by my side during a lot of our travels. And whether it was traveling to the Arctic Circle to see the Northern Lights in Finland, or visiting the most northern McDonald's in the world, Gene, you have always been a part of my life, and you're not only a cameraman, you are my anchor and my true travel partner that I can't wait to share so more videos with. And I know I never had you in them, and I want to apologize to you. In our future videos, I promise you'll be right next to me enjoying what this beautiful world has to offer and explore. I am truly the luckiest man that has you in my life, and here's to 2026. So with that being said, Gene and I have always walked by this magnificent hotel whenever we went out to Montreal and watched people all dressed up fancy in their Sunday's best, and I thought to myself, let's book a night and see what all this fuss is about. I mean, there has to be a reason why actors like Adam Sandler, Christopher Plummer, and Alec Baldwin, just to name a few, that stay here. And when you first walk into the main entrance, it literally took me by surprise of what it actually looked like inside. You were greeted with rich mahogany and oak that dated back to when this was constructed back in 1880. I wouldn't even say that this is decadent. This is a mini mansion that each piece of decoration was an artifact and had a history behind it. From the sculptures of George Stephen to the exquisite stained glass windows that are priceless, to a massive grandfather clock that was hand carved and had a really cool story behind it from the 1950s. One of the unique and really cool things about this hotel and this mansion that George Stephen built back in the 1800s is that right now, up until today, you could still smell the wood. You could still smell that this old building has so much history and is so rich. And it was just unbelievable to be able to step in the same footsteps that George Stephen did and so many other celebrities and high dignitaries. And once Gene and I got done marveling at this great architectural design, we were so curious to see what the hotel actually looked like. And we heard stories from talking to other people that it's a very modern hotel, but this part is intact to the very roots when George Stephen and his wife once lived here. And when we left the original part of the mansion and walked into the hotel portion, you literally went from a place that was built in the 1800s to modern present day within just a couple short footsteps. The lobby was absolutely lavish, just dripping with modern sophistication and elegance and beauty. And the designers that added this hotel really left no stone unturned, paying attention to the finest of detail, blending art with pieces of antique. When a private investment company took this over and had this endeavor, they really got it right, with again, blending old and new together, and this is what it has created. And I've stayed in the highest hotels and resorts in the world, especially like when I was in Abu Dhabi. I stayed at the Ritz-Carlton, which probably is one of the nicest hotels I've ever seen in my life. And just because it doesn't have to have 400 or 500 rooms and have this grandiose hotel or entrance. I mean, this is a smaller boutique hotel, but this, I think, stacks right up there with the Ritz. I mean, this only has 69 rooms and 21 suites, I believe, and they got it right. And I was just really blown away by everything. I couldn't even find dust, even on the shelves. And when Gene and I got checked in, I upgraded ourselves for a small fee to one of their mini suites, and I couldn't wait to see if the rooms were going to match how amazing that lobby was and this whole experience so far. When we got to our room, which was 509, we were greeted with a dark room. I was a little surprised, but yes, this room, and like all the other rooms, are all energy efficient. And everything, and I mean everything in this room, is all electronic on a keypad. So it will take a few minutes to get used to. And I'm very technologically savvy, and it took me a little bit. But if you're not technologically savvy, it will be a little bit of a learning curve. So my first impressions of this room was, it's big, it's very technological, a lot of electronics going on to operate everything, but it was really neat. You had your own couch to watch TV. If you didn't want to watch it from the bedroom, you could swivel the TV to your liking. And even the shades here are all electronic. You have to hit the shades if you want to have the curtains go left and right and separate. And then there was another button that would open up the shade to obviously get a view from the, I think it was Drummond Street that we were overlooking from the outside of the hotel. So like I said, as you can see here, it does take a little bit of patience, but once you get it, it is completely fine, and it's really cool to experience. And just like every other hotel I stay and do a review of, I go and check the cleanliness of the room. I go in to see if things are in order, and I check the amenities that are included in the room as well. And you had your Nespresso coffee, which is becoming standard in most higher-end hotels now, but it's still nice to have. The bed was pristinely made, with not even a crease in the pillows or the comforter, and seeing the Mount Stephen crest was just a cool icing on the cake. And here are all the switches and buttons to turn off the lights, to open and close the shades at the convenience of your bed. And besides the bed being the most comfortable I've slept in a very long time, this is one of my favorite rooms in the entire room. This bathroom was over the top, but I was not complaining. I've never seen a motion detected toilet seat that comes up when it sees that somebody's coming in. And just when I thought I saw it all, this toilet had so much technology in it that I didn't think it was even possible. It was a bidet that cleaned your butt if you were a man, and if you're a female, it cleaned both ends, if you catch my drift. And not only that, but the seat was heated. And I was thinking to myself, I think I might need to change my toilet seat when I get home. But really, everything was just crazy over the top. It was amazing. And I could probably say it's one of the nicest bathrooms that I've ever stayed in a hotel. But what really got me was the shower. And it took me a few minutes to figure out everything. From turning on the water, where it was coming from, and how to turn on these lights that people always spoke about, that how amazing this shower was. Also, that was really cool, is you could change the colors to whatever you wanted. You could do purple, you could do red, you could do white, blue. The list goes on and on. It was really cool. Once Jean and I got settled into our room, I called down to the lobby and asked for a bucket of ice, and within just a few short minutes' time, hotel staff was knocking at our door, and we were ready to have a nice cool beverage. And before we left to get a guided tour of the Mount Stephen mansion itself and walk about the city, I wanted to make sure that it was nice and cool when we got back later on the evening, and surprisingly, this touchpad screen wasn't hard to navigate at all. It was very intuitive and user-friendly. So I wanted to show my viewers that although there is a ton of tech in this room and not many traditional knobs, it really isn't that hard to get the hang of it once you take a few minutes to learn it. But I know sometimes people don't want to be bothered, and some people think that they shouldn't have to figure things out, and it should be easy, and I totally agree with that. But it seems like that's what's happening in today's age. To book a tour is free for guests, and the table's right by the front desk in the main lobby, and they were able to accommodate us, and the tour was amazing. It gave a whole different perspective of how much history this mansion actually has. And here is the upstairs, and the next following videos, they're going to be the tour guide talking and not as much as me.
The maintenance, they're still actually using this for service and different things like that. So even like, let's say if I would open it here, you can see that even the interior tapestry, the original tapestry, is still intact, actually. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So pretty cool, actually. Wow. So a lot of these style of designs you can find throughout the New England area, because actually use that. So this is one of my favorite things inside this room, actually, since you're filming it. So this is actually hand carved. So if you pass your hand, you can feel like basically the patterns behind it. So today we have tapestry, but back then there was not tapestry. So they had to make the shape behind it, put fabric and have somebody carve over it and then paint over it actually. So there was a whole process behind that. So this was touched up, but if you look at the other walls, they're darker a little bit because of the fact that you see here is actually a mirror that was given as a gift from his American friends. So basically bald eagle on top. Probably nothing more American than bald eagle, right? So the chandelier is original as well. Since
The chandelier, you said, is?
Yeah, the chandelier is original as well. So the house itself, since it was built on a wood foundation as well, it did move with time itself. So if you look at different parts of it, you can see that it's not necessarily level, actually. So you can, because most of the engineers at that time had to calculate the fact that Montreal is built on a bedrock. Actually. So basically the island itself kind of moves with the winter and the summer. Like in the little circles, you would have different like musical instruments. So basically from room to room as you go, you're gonna notice like different themes inside the house itself. And depending on the theme that it is, then you'll know who's Stevens. And this was Mrs. Stevens.
Of course, she gets the biggest room.
Yeah, exactly. She gets the biggest room and she gets more opulence as well. If you take a look at, like, let's say the ornamentation on this side compared to the other side,
Yeah,
it's a little slightly different. Mrs. Stevens itself had a certain love for birds, actually. So you have a lot of different bird species that you're going to see throughout the
I saw that in the bathroom. You had pheasants and the.
Yeah, exactly. The letters that you see there are actually not the original ones because actually they removed them. But basically, the National Archives has them now. These are reproductions of what it was, but basically, the letter of exchanges between the Stevens and Queen Victoria, basically. So, beautiful room itself. So, this room would be mahogany as well. And basically, one of the things I like most is that you could clearly see that this was hand painted. If you pass your fingers through it, you can even still feel the brush strokes actually of the artist actually that painted over it.
Wow.
So no, pretty cool thing. Usually there's like a gate that is in front, but they actually remove it depending on, let's say, what Stevens and Mr. Stevens right here. And the basic picture just behind is the new owners. Over here would be the men's bathroom. Bonjour. Madame Stevens and Mrs. Stevens did not share the same bathroom either. They had separate bathrooms. And back then itself, women weren't accepted in public spaces a lot. So Mrs. Stevens actually has a bigger bathroom because her friends would come over actually a lot. And one of the things that is different as well is that if you look at the sinks here and the faucets, they have wings on this side. So the reason behind the wings is also for the fact that Mrs. Stevens itself was a early fighter for women's right, actually. So the representation of wings in the women's side and not in the men's would be the representation of freedom and liberty for women itself. From one of his friends actually from Europe. So this was actually one of his favorite travel destinations. So the Matterhorn actually. So if you look at the peak itself, it's very recognizable. So yeah.
That's an original painting?
Yeah, this is original painting. I forgot, we don't have the archives, but you have the signature of the artist here. So we would technically happen inside this area itself. So the light fixtures are all original, the tapestry as well, the button chairs that you see, the leather button chairs are actually original as well. So the buffet here and the lamp that you see there is actually the last one out of 4 that we have left.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of things were damaged, unfortunately, with time. We had 4 of them actually. So unfortunately, like you can't really replace them anymore because of the fact that it's very, very old. And as you can see, like the buffet doesn't have glass anymore because somebody knocked it over, actually, unfortunately. But this is actually original and hand painted as well, actually.
Wow, look at that.
Like different thematics as well. So like they're represented through the stained glass art usually. So this would be a representation of tragedy. You would have comedy on this side, theater, if I'm not mistaken, on here, and Anthony, which is actually a screenwriter and.
And this room that we're entering now is just one of many living rooms that George Stephen and his wife had in this mansion. And now they mostly use it for banquets, as you can see here, wedding receptions, and so on and so forth. And I know the tour guide brought us into the women's bathroom with permission, but as we look into the men's bathroom, you could just see how this bathroom looks like something from a castle or something that belongs to nobility. But as I think of it, he was a lord, so it makes sense that these sinks are gold-plated and the porcelain is hand-painted with pheasants, since his wife had a love for all types of birds. And there were just so many rooms upstairs, and I apologize, I don't know how many, but there had to have been at least over 10 different rooms that were used for a bedroom, dining rooms, living rooms, etc. The place was massive. And I know that this video can go on and on for 20 minutes, and I wish I had more of my tour guide to explain more to my viewers of what everything was and what each artifact and antiquity was. But like right here with the fireplace, having it actually be porcelain and hand painted, it was just an amazing experience to view all this, to see all this, and to hear it, and being able to actually be part of it by being inside it. And as we ended our tour downstairs, we finished with looking at the main dining hall and the dining room where George Stephen and his wife would have guests and parties. Now this room is where the main dining room is for all guests that come in for dinner. And if you remember in the beginning of the video, they actually got a Michelin Recognition Award in 2024 that's plaqued right outside the hotel. So I highly recommend trying this out, and if you're in Montreal, because you won't be disappointed. And also make sure that you make reservations well in advance, because the days we were here, there was hardly a seat in the house. And just to even get to the bar, which we're heading to next, depending on the day and the hour, there are sometimes lines that go out the door of the hotel. So just be aware of that and make sure you give yourself enough time in advance. Sadly, in closing, this has been such an amazing experience for Gina and I that we were able to take a step back in time and immerse ourselves in what it was like to live in nobility and yet come back to reality when we go back to our hotel room. So I highly recommend coming here. There's so much history, as you can see here, and get a tour guide. It is worth the money if you want to spend the night, and find out what it costs if you're not a guest and you just want to get a tour. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. The food was out of this world. The drinks kept flowing at whatever pace you wanted, and Bar George is probably one of the coolest bars I ever drank at and had food because of the ambiance and the history that we sat next to. And this is a trip I will always remember, and I hope that seeing this video, it'll encourage whoever watches this to do the same. This is Passport Planet. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.